Chapter 8, Lesson 1 on functions. Okay, a function we've talked about before is a relation. Remember, a relation is just a set of ordered pairs. So it is a relation where each x value, or the input, is paired with exactly one y value, or the output. So remember last year we talked about at the grocery store that if you scanned something, that's the input, and you would never get two different outputs. But you might get the same output for two different inputs. Okay, when we talk about functions, we also talk about domain and range. Domain refers to the x values, and range refers to the y values. Okay, so let's look at some examples and decide if they are a function or not. So if I look at this set of ordered pairs, I'm going to say, okay, the inputs are 54, 56, 55, 54, and 56. Now I'm going to decide if it's a function. Well, I'm going to say, okay, so I have some repeating inputs, so let's check. 54 and 54. This one, the output is 112. This one, the output is 123. So no, this is not a function. And if I had to tell why, I would say because 54 has two different outputs. And I might even be specific and say it has two outputs of 112 and 123. It's also not a function for a different reason, because 56 has an output of 130. It also has an output of 128. Okay, sometimes we also look at an XY table. And again, I'm going to see if it's a function. So I'm going to look at my inputs. 4, 7, 6, 3, 5, 2. None of them repeat, so I can't see if there's another input with the same value that has two different outputs. And so I would say, yes, this is a function. And when I was explaining why, I would say because each input has exactly one output. Don't just say it has one output, because it has exactly one output. Right? Now we also sometimes talk about function notation. And function notation is just a way to write an equation using f of x, or the function of x, instead of y. So we're used to seeing equations, for example, maybe like y equals 2x plus 3. But when I write that in function notation, I'm going to say, okay, well, the function of x is that I multiply it by 2 and I add 3. Okay, when I am reading this function, I'm going to read this as f of x, or sometimes I even say the function of x, and I might say is 2x plus 3, or is 2 times the x plus 3. So for example, if I said the function of 11 just means that I will plug in an 11 for the x, because this is a function of x, or f of x.